Hello there, welcome along to Good Morning Uganda Extra, and many thanks for sticking around with us this morning as we are diving deeper into more conversations. And this particular morning we're going to be talking matters education, Uganda's education sector, looking deep into the fact that first term is here. Senior 1 students are yet to kickstart off their journey into ordinary level as we await for the release of the Senior 4 examinations. All of that is the conversation we are going to have this morning. Well, this time around I do not have a new guest or a new face because Chirao Robert Nyonyitono rejoins me on set this morning as we dive deeper into a crisis that is eating us up as of now. As we speak, many schools resumed or officially resumed, I should say, for first term. Why I'm saying many, because there were some of those that did not resume because government did close them down for matters to do with lack of preparedness due to the facilities or due to meeting specific standards of a school to operate. That is why I'm saying many resumed. So the minority of those are still working hand in hand with government supervisors, especially those from the Ministry of Education and Sports, to ensure smooth transition into the first academic term. But well, besides that, there is a very huge worry about the fact that the turn-up of the students, especially in week 1 of the first term, was low when it comes to the private schools. That is a huge concern, and the outcry is there is a lot of talk in regards to the school fees and how much the private schools charge. Chirao, good morning once again.
A lovely morning, brother. How have you been? Well, just watch you doing sports, I must say. I really enjoyed every bit of it.
I was there trying to do the Ruben, to become the mini Ruben. But Chirabo, I should say you're in position as a parent, and in such times you can feel the pressure every parent is going through, especially when schools have resumed. Someone once told me that as children rush to go in for holidays, they are happy because they are going back home. But now the parent's mind is on preparing them for the next term. And especially for first time, you get to realize the observation was there was low turn up. Many parents actually were forced to take back their children back home because they failed to pay 80% of the school fees, or 50% as other schools were asking for. When you look at it, does this look like a need for the government to start regulating the school fees?
I think we first have to understand, where did we go wrong as a nation? And this goes back to the history of what we call formal education. Because we have informal education, the things you learn at home before you join school. Now, when you look at the history of education in this country, first we had missionaries come to Uganda and bring formal education because they needed people that were going to help them in their administration. No wonder we've always argued that our system produces job seekers, not job creators, because these wanted a certain class of people trained to help them. And also looked at another element of using the education also to foster religion at the same time. That's why you find that the oldest schools in this country were church-oriented schools. We had the Catholics have their schools, you can mention them. We had the Anglicans have their schools, you can mention them. Then later the Muslims came in when you talk about the Chibuli, Gombe SS and all that. Then when you talk about King's College, you talk about St. Mary's, Kisubi, in Masaka, Chitovu and all that. St. Mary's, Chitovu, Kako, oh, you look at that. So these people were not aiming at money. Now, after the missionaries, we had what we call community-based schools. That Anna Juma, who has gone to school and seen the value of girl-child education, Chantal, they are coming from the same community. They look at their community and they are concerned, and then they set up a school to educate children of the community. Their intention was nowhere next to profit. Because they were like, in Masaka, if I've come from there as a member of parliament, if I've come from there, maybe they're helped by missionaries, how do we develop our community? So they started community-based schools. Now, hell went loose. When we went into commercialization of education, unregulated in the start.
Because of the business structure set up
Now,
in the country as well.
People are coming up with schools, not the core purpose being educating, but making profit. Today, one of the businesses that is making money, let's call a spoon, is education. So you're going to rent few rooms, have teachers, kids begin coming in. You set your price. In a few times, you're able to buy land. Now you have a land title. You go to banks. They give you money. You get a loan. And now what happens? You have to squeeze the parents for you to be able to service this loan of property that is entirely going to be your property. No wonder you see many will charge development fee year in, year out. There's a school I went to, I was in senior one, up to now they're still collecting van money. They want to purchase a bus.
They are yet to purchase one for all those years.
And every person joining senior 1, joining senior 5, contributes that issue of van not less than 200,000. And this is a big school. It's been there for, I don't know how much they have collected. I think they have bought vehicles that even qualify for a presidential convoy. The amount of money they have raised. But this bus is not there. So we went into commercialization unguided. Where I come from, we have a saying, that if something goes wrong under your watch, in the initial stages,
and
when you try to rectify it, you break.
Destroy or break.
Education was laid to the hands of hungry hyenas, unregulated. Now, that is where we went wrong, that we didn't come out with proper guidelines. Who would start a school? I'm not attacking or taking offense in any way, but look at some of the schools, apart from those that are under teachers, that then build you find a teacher teaching in a government school, having a private school, which is no offense. You find commissioners, top management in this ministry is as if one of the qualifications, you must have a school. So, lack of proper regulation has led to what we look at now as exorbitant charges.
And well, of course, to you, our viewer, you can join this conversation by giving us your opinion on the same matter in regards to what do you think has led to this issue of the fee structure going way overboard, because it does seem like it is becoming more expensive every day. I did see some of, there was once, I did see a screenshot of a parent from a certain school where a top class student was paying 3.7 million Ugandan shillings. And well, of course, there are people who can't afford that, by the way. And as much as others can't, there is a section that can. And I think this is the reason as to why we are seeing school fees hiking every other day. Do schools just set the pace for whoever can manage, or they are doing this because of the quality of the education they are giving us?
Well, I want to believe it's about the quality of education, that in these schools that charge so much, that there's a trickle-down effect.
Okay.
It is not that way. But you see, the fact that also government failed, and I want to use this, it's work still in progress, to have a competing scale in education. Because, Sonko, if government had nursery schools, that are offering seemingly, not exact as these private institutions are doing, but seemingly good education, then when there is a substitute, like in football, if you are a very good sportsman in terms of analyzing and all that, when there is a substitute as good as you on a team, let me talk about the Good Morning Uganda team we have here. That if I'm not around, I know Sonko can do what I do. You know? If Sonko is not around, I can fit in.
So we have failed to balance the, that.
Now, the education system is slant. That if you see, the private institutions are charging exorbitant fees because they know anyone will struggle to go into private institutions. You know? Who wouldn't? I'll speak of schools I've gone to, the likes of St. Mary's Chitende. You know,
actually one of the schools that are highly charging.
Yes, it's one of the schools that is highly charging.
But they're also highly performing.
But also highly performing. But now, if we had a government school, leave government aided, because this is also a problem. There are schools that are government aided and they are charging exorbitant fees.
Because a school I start my UACE from is government aided, Chitende Secondary. That is along Entebbe Road before you go to Chitende St. Mary's. So when you mention government aided, you do realize that at Chitende Secondary we used to pay a certain fee, which was either functional or that. So I think it goes back to the argument that you're saying. That
yes, but even some government aided. And this is why the Organization of National Private Schools, headed by, I think, is Asadu Chirabira. Yeah, Asadu Chirabira comes out and says, well, let's also make a comparison. Even the government aided are charging a lot of money. If you look at some schools, talk about the Kudos, talk about Landejes, many schools you can look at and you see that. So, failure for government to put up reasonable competition in education, in terms of facilities, in terms of quality. I want you to tell me how many of the ungraded in P7 were from private schools.
Many were from the government, because actually even the government schools performed poorly, according to...
I want to ask you, how many of people in government take their children in UPE schools?
I would actually be right if I even said no.
You get it? Why? Is it because they have so much and they choose to leave ice cream and then have something else? That is one. You see, for you to kill competition, you put an alternative matching. Automatically, let me tell you, Sonko, if government primary schools have the structures, yes, it's work in progress. I must also say that. And we've seen some really strides being made there. If government, for example, has the structures, improves on how much they give per child in UPE a year, because I want to mention the figures. If you have those teachers there, they have their accommodation, they are paid well. Robert Chirago, with my small salary, there is no way I would prefer to take my child in a school of 1.5 in a nursery school. If government had these facilities, I would strictly say they're studying the same syllabus.
Okay.
They're studying the same curricula. Why not? But we went into commercialization of education, not regulated, and the problem became worse, where we do not have competitors doing so in this business as government. So that is a problem. Now, you also talked about, are these costs really worth it? I must say there's a lot of exploitation. I want to give a personal experience. Where I stay and where my child goes for education, it's just very few kilometers. But the van, every time, I have to pay 250. Even if I used a border rider.
And that is just kindergarten as
well.
of
That is
now.
kindergarten. To transport my son from home to his school, it wouldn't be that cost. So, and remember, this van is carrying so many of them.
Including picking others at 5 o'clock.
Yes, picking others at 5 o'clock. But for my particular distance, it's a stone throw away. Even if I'm to walk there on foot, I can't take 30 minutes. But convenience, you're leaving at 4, you have to be here. Then madam is leaving at 6, she has to go to work. You know, now who is going to take this person to school and all that? But in terms of money, if I'm to quantify, that's an exploitive fee.
And most of the schools are already doing.
Yes.
I think the worry is because now schools are operating completely like businesses now.
And they're not regular, and you see, it wasn't directed. You know, then go to the fees. What is, for example, if I were to look at nursery, what content is that is going to be charged fees of maybe 1 point something? For nursery, they go to learn to read, they go to, you know, what is so much of the curriculum that is there for them?
Oh, indeed. And well, I also have some views coming in. You can keep them coming. There is a gentleman here who says, Ndugu Sonko, you're asking the government to regulate education in Uganda, yet we still have other areas to regulate. His job is saying that we need we need to have also focus on others, because it does seem like we have other areas in Uganda which have no clear regulation.
Well, why we would focus on education more? One, education in our constitution is a right.
True.
That is a right. It is, education is a right. And therefore, there shouldn't be ways that deny someone education. And second, education is vital for national development. If you want to develop this country, we must have a clear, proper education system. You can talk about other rights that are very important, other sectors that have been regulated. But you see, if we wake up and the gap between the rich and poor expands so much, the poor will have nothing left except to eat the rich. It will be a time bomb, because Sonko, that will mean the rich are able to educate their children get these good jobs, whereas the poor that cannot afford to educate their children, and when I talk about education, I don't mean going and sitting before a teacher. I mean quality education. So what will happen? The poor, the cycle will be evolving. The poor will remain being poor, produce poor children. And what is funny, when we were in COVID-19, you saw that a number of girls got pregnant, not because the virus was impregnating them, but because they were out of school. And it is proven that when girls spend more time in school, they delay their birth rate. Now, these children are not going to school, produce very early, and you have a bigger population.
True.
Now, when you talk about population, you need quality and quantity.
True.
Not quantity alone. So if we're not serious about education, this is going to, in the long run, catch up with us. That so we reach a time when you cannot, if you look at South Africa, areas like Soweto, the areas that you can't drive through. Today we may pretend, but there are areas in this country that you may not go through. There are some ghettos, there are some streets. And when you
where
get
you can
this,
go through maybe during daytime,
yes,
and it becomes very
and
difficult.
when these criminals are arrested and asked their education levels, you're not saying this is a degree holder who failed to get a job. So it's snatching phones.
Someone who completely failed to go to school.
No. Some of these are damaged beyond repair because they have never seen a blackboard, or they went through not quality education and ended at a certain level.
Well, I do have a comment coming in from Bernard, who is following in from Molago. And Bernard says that the education systems that were privatized are not the only one following this trend. I think we're just using them as a scapegoat of the dead system. He says there are social classes that have been created in the society of Uganda, such that even when they charge $2,000, people can still afford. He says that this is due to a liberalized economy, so it's the system that needs an overhaul. You know, it goes back to what you mentioned, that it does look like we failed at the starting point. So however much we say the system needs an overhaul, it may be really difficult. But he says, when you look at the fact that the entire economy is liberalized, now the schools can charge anyhow, because they already know if at all they are to charge, let's say, 8 million Ugandan shillings, someone can afford.
And what happens is, they'll start with lower fees. Then every time they'll keep on increasing. Remember, this is a school, because someone would say, Robert, don't make noise for us. Cut a coat according to your cloth. Because there is something tailor-made for everybody. If you don't have money, what takes you to a school of 800,000 per term when you know you can't afford it? Why don't you take your child to a school of 200 per term? One will tell you what your child pays can take 3 of my children to school. And I've cleared everything. So that is why you chose. You're cutting a cloth according. But you see, the reality remains is that sometimes these schools, the rate at which they're increasing school fees, you begin year 1, second term, 10% increment. They go on increasing, and you're trapped there as a parent. Second, also, the quality. But they've also made arguments, Sonko, that you see there has been inflation. You see, costs of commodities are increasing. Government has not subsidized water for us. Government has not subsidized electricity for us. You know, what we are offering vis-a-vis the quality is also an issue. Children are eating very well in our schools. So meals are expensive. The maize, they have talked about the water. You know, we have a school and they're using, we don't have pit latrines like in government. For us, we have where a person has to flush. Every time that happens is 10 liters. Now what is the cost of that? The quality of teachers we are using, how much we are paying them. But if you go and analyze properly what they're saying, it's not true. Schools buy in bulk. And most of the time there are discounts. Talk about maize today, schools have reopened. As the price of maize shot up because schools have opened. Have farmers and buying their maize to make silage for the cows. And they're next to schools. But they rather sell the maize to me, who is going to make silage, than doing that for school fees. I mean, to sell it to schools. When we go, schools buy in bulk. I talked of a van. You're taking in bulk. When you go to electricity, when you go to water, look at these, the various tariffs that are there. I've hosted people from Umeme. I've hosted the director, National Water, General Manager of National Water, Kampala. These have subsidies. But the challenge is that there is no one willing to step in. And the other element being conflict of interest. Where I come from, we say, okay. But if there is anything in the forest, and you're looking for a judge,
you can't look for a monkey simply
You
because
can't
it
look for
lives
a monkey.
or resides there.
it resides there.
I have some more views coming in from people following up our conversation this morning. This one says, hello, good morning, Uganda. The school fees hiking is not all about the quality of education, but just
Yes.
profit maximization strategy, especially to the private schools, something that Chirabo has furthermore hinted on. Richard Kushemerera from Bara City, thank you very much for always following. And then we have another one coming in. Good morning, team, and thanks for doing a great job at UBC. Schools in the West Nile region ask for abnormal requirements. Actually, the requirements cost more than the fees. I am coming to that point, Chirabo. I want you to give your comment on the same. You've mentioned something about the school bus and the charges. He says, I'm wondering why we are paying as much money as school fees and also buy requirements that the schools could budget out of the fees we pay. I think the schools are now more of doing wealth creation other than education. This is Derek from Arua. He says, how will a peasant farmer afford educating his or her children with this kind of exorbitant nature of the schools? He mentioned something very critical. But you do realize that some parents are more concerned about the requirements. Maybe the school fees may be $1 million Ugandan shillings, and then you realize the requirements are more than that. And these are term requirements, by the way. At times there are schools where it's an annual requirement where students have to change uniforms. Very few though. But when you look at some of these situations and cases, what does this mean to our education?
The challenge we are having is the fact that we seem that so much water has gone under the bridge. And we can no longer do much about it. Because now when you look at a system that has been there for years, I've seen the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, on several occasions issuing circulars to schools, warning, telling them how there is a proper law in case you're to increase school fees, because there's a system. It has to be agreed by the PTA or some committee. Then you give that to the Ministry of Education and Sports, then they approve, then that is your new fees structure. The school I've ever seen and heard of that doing was Budo Senior Secondary School, where the parents meet, then they agree that we are going to increase this percentage because we are going to do this, we are going to do this, for us to do this, we to do this. Then they write and follow. That circular has been issued by the ministry so many times, warning. But you see, where there is lack of enforcement, two things. A monkey may not be, because you find that most of these people, which is not an offense, but they're key stakeholders in schools. I want to tell you, it's like raising to a certain rank in a certain ministry, you must own a school. Yes, these are teachers, and what they understand best is a school, is education. And so it's very hard for them to enforce. I think there's been so much laxity in terms of enforcing some of the guidelines by the Ministry of Education and Sports. We call upon enforcement, that bit of enforcement.
Okay.
It's been a very big challenge. And when you look at these requirements, because these are just technicalities, Sonko, if you're telling me, for example, an nursery child every time brings a ream of paper, brings 8 pencils, 8 pencils, then on addition, you talk about a uniform where they're going to get 2 shorts, then PE,
you know,
2
uniforms
shirts.
as of now go for close to 600,000.
Yes.
And I think the worry is because the cost of living is also increasing in the country, and the cost of goods is also rising. And
But if you did that, sorry to cut you short, if you got those uniforms, went to a tailor, bought those materials, you're not even going to reach half of the cost. But then you're mandated to buy from school.
yes, because it's what the school is requiring.
Yes,
I did see a screenshot somewhere as well, I think during the same week, where one of the parents did share that they are supposed to be paying a certain fee for lunch. But again, the school also encrypted something to do with a clause or an article, I should call it, where you're supposed to also buy food. Maybe this is going for a kilo, where they actually charge you. It's a kindergarten where they also charge you to pay for specifically food. So you've paid on top of everything, but you're also, as a child is supposed to offer to come with, let's
Yes,
say,
they
10
say meals are
kilograms.
provided at school, but you can also pack for your child.
No, you're supposed to pay.
You're supposed
10 kilogram. You come with 10 kilograms of maize flour and 10 kilograms of beans, because that is really the kind of food.
That all goes back to 2 things that are very critical, because you must look at the way forward.
Okay.
If you are to save this situation, 1, government must improve quality of government-aided schools so that there is an alternative. You know, to break competition, just imagine we had only UBC TV. When we had UTV, I remember TV would start at 6. And as early as we finished, we would sit in the sitting room. Then you had the blue, you had the green, you had the yellow. And that would take another 30 minutes. You're waiting. Now you turn on the TV. You're waiting for those lines. Then when it clocked 6, someone would come on. I think by then it was Edwin Tumusime or something. Then they would say something. Then programming would start. At midnight, if I remember very well, after Inspector Derrick, there was something called Riviera. They would not allow us to watch it. Our parents, we're going to be back here and all that. Then after that, TV is gone. Now, TV can no longer operate like that. There are other competitors. Now I have social media.
True.
Where you have live units, because before, for if you're waiting for a news bulletin, it's already circulating everywhere. So you have a live unit to match
sure
up with
that
that.
you match
Now,
up with it.
in the education system, who is the competitor? Private schools have no competition from government. Yes, government is not involved in business, but education is a service. Now, us, education has become a business and not a service.
Well, there are questions and concerns. Bernard Onen Molago is asking for when the UACE results will be released. Well, UNEB and the Minister of Education will as well be giving more details of that, Bernard. This is also someone else who didn't leave his name, saying when will the UCE results. Those ones will come in earlier, and we anticipate the announcement for the date from the Uganda National Examinations Board. So keep locked on UBC with our news bulletins, and also Good Morning Uganda. We shall surely give you details of that. For those who are calling in, please let's only text so that we can get your messages. Now, good morning, Uganda. I'm Timothy from Namisindwa. Surely, most of these schools are owned by government officials. Can you accept to put down your own business if you're a government official? That is another concern. Where we do have government officials, or we do have, let's say, officials who are owning schools. And as we are looking at such a conversation, they are the same officials who can have a say in parliament. But when it comes to...
Actually, a number of members of parliament,
yes,
it's also as if it's mandatory. They have schools, and these have been a very big stepping stone for their victories.
So members of parliament having schools, and then and you wait for them to table something like regulation of school fees. Don't you think it's more like contradicting or conflicting loyalty for...
I would say it's conflict of interest, but we must wake up to a fact that we must look at the Uganda of today and the Uganda after. Be patriotic and be very focused. Because I always say this, I don't know if people get the meaning of what I'm trying to say. But whenever I say that a time will come when the poor have nothing left for them to eat except the rich. Because the rich have eaten from the poor and left them with nothing to eat. People must be very realistic. When we don't go back to the national, we don't have a national think tank of how best we should look at this issue of school fees. Because education is a determinant of a country's economy.
So true.
We talk about great nations, the Chinas. It is because they looked at what education is going to propel them to the next level. As a nation, not as individuals. Now, even if we revise our syllabus, our curriculum, and you have a good portion of this country that is not getting that education, we are going to fight poverty. Circles may not help. I am a person who usually goes to the ghettos to preach the word of God. I go to prisons to preach the word of God. But I want to tell you, there are people found in these ghettos that are damaged beyond repair. And even if you told them to come together and give them money, they have no financial literacy. They are not exposed. They haven't had quality education. So they're going to give birth to children whose cycle is going to be the same. Today you're comfortably in parliament. You're comfortably in these positions where decisions matter. And you consider in the interest of the nation, how best do we tame this device? Everyone desires that because you don't have a proper alternative. Every parent would say, let me take my child to this school. I'll struggle.
True. They're
assuming that they will be able to make it. Now later there, they find out that they can't make it. But it is their desire.
To do
you know, when these private owners, I was looking at Asadu Chirunda. You know, I was reading where there was a telephone interview saying, but parents should take children to schools they can afford. Would not decide the economy, would not decide inflation, would not decide commodity prices. But brother, your charges are exorbitant. This is the question. They're not saying that they're within the range. They're exorbitant. For example, if you're going to sell something to government, let's talk about land and the public procurement. There's what we call the government valuer. He comes to this piece of land, then values what is the cost of land in this particular area, and as government is considering other factors, you're not going to say that there is a willing buyer, there is a willing seller. I can sell my land. If government is buying through, it will even change our road design.
True.
Because you are charging exorbitant. So we are not saying that don't charge, but don't charge exorbitant fees. We need a regulator. If this is what you're offering, what should be the fees that match what you're offering?
And you know, on the same matter that you've actually mentioned, there's a good comment here I've actually got through, where this gentleman is saying, on the topic of discussion, there's too much fees charge that is not balancing with the employment opportunities for the parents or caretakers. Also, the salary disparity among the employed leave many unbalanced challenges to afford education services, which is actually right. Because when you look at the fact that the salary disparity or even the employment structures, someone who was earning the same amount of money in 2014 you may find is still earning the same
Yes.
as of today. But then surprisingly, school fees at the time when maybe for us, when I was in primary, boarding was 250,000. Now today, boarding goes for as high as 1.5 or 2 million for a primary school, which shows you that as the cost of living is increasing, schools are living according to the bracket, but the salary structure, or let's say the employment world, is not adapting to the same. So he furthermore goes on and says, government schools today are charging money for beyond the expected government reasons, and white developed USCE and UPE, yet government provides much resources allocation. Why is it being commercialized, just like getting a private ward or a pharmacy on regional referral hospital? This is Kariarugokwe, Christopher. So I didn't get the last part, but I pretty much got his first statement, where he did say that the schools are charging highly, but when you look at the salary disparity and the kind of employment opportunities in the country, becomes very difficult for some people to afford.
Now, that is the reason we should have proper regulation. You see, there are some services that you can't just leave in the hands of private sector.
Because
the government has to come in. That is why you see that you can't just, in Uganda, you don't sell firearms. Because government knows how it's dangerous for you and I to own a gun and have certain shops sell guns.
Okay.
Why don't we privatize that? Because we know the danger in it. So let's look at education. Unregulated education in terms of school fees. We may not have a universal cap that this school on school fees. But what if, for example, say schools have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. One says that's grading, but these are the realities. And government says for this particular, fees should not exceed this. If you're offering, fees should not exceed this. If we are talking about, let's come on the drawing board, what should we subsidize for schools to reduce and enforce this reduction? Because we are becoming so complacent. It seems to be mativu. Yeah? School fees. It's become a song. But what action are we taking? Because at the end of the day, I'll emphasize this. There is a cycle. We are widening the gap between the rich and the poor. And that is dangerous. Because at one time, your children that have gone to these very good schools, and you're talking about some even have seen, are sending students out of Uganda. Now, these children that have gone to these schools, one time, I don't know if you've come across this song, briefly, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, there is a clip that was circulating when he said the poor in this country do not sleep.
I'm actually, I even, there is a certain radio that actually plays that, that same voice.
Because they're hungry. And then the rich
are not sleeping because the poor
are looking for what to eat. Then he says, a rich man builds a very beautiful house that maybe you would want everyone to see, but puts a fence that almost covers the house. Then puts electric fences, alarms, then buys German shepherds, very huge. Now, as he's sleeping, the dog knocks on the vehicle, and he wakes up to see who is taking my car. Then when he goes back to sleep, a poor man is attempting to get side mirrors. Then he wakes up, the alarm is,
who is trying
so
to
he spends the entire night worried to protect what is.
So everybody is worried.
So, because, and I like His Excellency, he's looked at various alternatives. But the challenge is, these alternatives, the people they are going to, if they have not had quality education, if they have not gone to school to understand with a good curriculum, then even what is given of them, they may not use it very well.
Indeed.
They'll fail to pay back, revolving funds will not be worth it, and the circle of poverty. The best therefore area is if you invest in a system where even the private sector will have to bow down and reduce on their charges.
Goes back to the competition.
Then you'll have these children, they'll have the good jobs. You not even bother to push in that so much. Push it in one sector. That's so I'm assured that every Ugandan who is of school-going age will go to school, will go through school. Private will be there but not very exorbitant. Have you seen how we have hospitals and government health centers?
Sure.
And there are clinics?
Yes.
Where you have serious politicians and they follow up medicine in these health centers. The private clinics don't charge a lot of money because they know immunization, for example, which private clinic is going to charge a lot of money for your children to get vaccinated.
Yet they know the government hospitals are giving it free of charge.
I'll take my child to Zambia.
Indeed.
Very comfortable because government provide, even if you imported your vaccines and have them there, you won't bother.
I think it goes back to government setting the standards.
Yes, because
in the government-aided
a
schools.
substitute. You can't, it is there. That's what we are saying.
So that if the competition is there, let the private schools compete directly. Like, by the way,
if government schools are giving me good education for my child, I said it's work in progress. We shall get there. If government are giving good education, for example, Sonko Primary School, 100 children sat for PLE, 50 passed in first grade. Then a government school, 100 sat, 40 passed in first grade. Why would I go for this exorbitant fee? And why wouldn't Sonko step down on their charges? Well, because regulation seems to be a problem. Conflict of interest is there. So let's make what is ours as government also better and matching. Then we shall see.
Well, let me get through some of the comments as I get back to Chirao to give us his parting shots. But I'm looking at the fact that many of the viewers out there are already following up with this conversation and giving their views on the same. Brian from Kapchora, I think you're asking about USCE. Those results will be released and, of course, the details, and UNEP will be giving us more in regards to the release date. I do have a number saying, hi, I'm Samuel watching you from Canada. Many thanks for watching. We do actually have quite a number of people who watch us from Canada.
There's a big population of Ugandans in diaspora in Canada.
This one says, I don't like how primary teachers are treated in Uganda. This is Samuel. I'm a student at the King's University, but most of my knowledge came from primary school. Well, kudos to you and many thanks for always keeping up with us, because in Canada, most of the states are 8 hours behind us, so it is night time that side. Then looking at this one says, good morning, Uganda. This is Peter from Kawala. To me, the only solution will be, as Mr. Chiraba has put it, that the government should put competition and construction of schools that are of reasonable good standards as compared to the private schools, because honestly, government can't set a ceiling or ground on school fees, and so still exploitation will still continue. So just this one is actually saying your point is a valid one as well. Then, good morning team, thanks for the topic. My concern is religious founded schools. Government pays teachers and support staff salaries, but they are charging abnormal fees. Why? David Bassa from Tororo. In your parting shots, I want you to also mention something like that. You even did mention it in your opening remarks about our traditional schools, because the traditional schools are religious schools in the country. I'm trying to get through some of these. Morning UBC, Patrick Mabale in Uganda. It wasn't better for our actions to be louder. It's louder than speaking. So he feels that we need to put the work on the desk. Well, Patrick, ours here on the show is to make sure that we call for the accountability, not really going on ground to build these schools. Good morning, Uganda. On regards to escalating fees, the government has paid deaf ear for it. In Uganda, we are more of talking but no action. I think we have a lot based on politics that is really not helping the minority. I think the majority are not being helped, and the minority are being helped. The rich are becoming richer while the poor are becoming poorer. You didn't leave your name, but, well, I'll get this one coming in from Stephen, who says he's working with the UPDF institution and a medical profession in Allied Medical School in Jinja. Why is it that the Ministry of Health does not value up? Okay, we're talking education, but your point is a valid one, Stephen. And Chirabo, your parting shots. In your parting shots, one, I want you to comment on the issue to do with the government, rather the religious schools or the traditional schools that are termed government aided, even when you look at their signposts. But apparently, if they give you, let's say, a school requirements kind of list, the charges are quite high. Now, that is only for the requirements. That would go close to 2 million. then they give you school fees that is also close to 2 million. So ideally, you're paying 4 million for a term.
One, we should ask ourselves, how much of money is government giving to these schools?
Okay.
Fellow Ugandans, interest yourself to know how much each child in UPE is given by government. Much as also you must analyze on the issue of that government builds these structures. I was reading a story early this morning where government in Katakwi is investing about 946 million to build a school.
Okay.
Now, but how much per this child? How much is government giving to this? Then also that goes back to the ministry. I think there is need to bite. If government we are giving you this amount of money, supporting you, maybe paying teachers and some of these things, and you're still charging exorbitant fee, then the ministry should come in. If we analyze that this is really exorbitant, they will withdraw that, you know. So we need to enforce. Finally, I want to emphasize, let's look at education as a right for every child in Uganda. Government, the only way, because enforcement may be a problem due to conflict of interest and the various laws of our land. Yes. Because these preparators, these owners of these schools may come out and say, well, it's a liberal economy. You know, the laws of demand and supply work. So enforcement may be tricky. And even pushing it through where it matters, you may find that people still are stakeholders in the education system and they can't. But there is where government can manage. Where is that? Have competing education institutions in terms of quality of what is being taught there, the teachers, in terms of services that are being held there, like infrastructure, you know. If a school has the buildings properly, if the school has the teachers properly, if the margin in performance is equal or balancing, then I guarantee you, I did some economics, these prices, these school fees will automatically drop. You know, it will automatically drop. Like I gave you an example. When now people know that immunization, government gives us these vaccines. You're not going to a private hospital in Zambia where I can get my child's vaccines because they were given there. It's not going to charge me because these are if they charged maybe like a 2,000 or something. So government of all sectors, let's prioritize education. I know there's something that is being done, but we still, it's just a drop in the ocean. So much has to be done. Now, when the education system of government is competing, private institutions are going to reduce tremendously, and every Ugandan will be assured that, yes, my child does not go to a private school where they're driven in vans to school.
Yes.
My child goes on foot, but they can equally compete. And when they grow, because they have all had education, even the child of the poor will be able to get a job. Well, we'll be able to have a decent family because there's a cycle, and this cycle, if we do not tame the way things are happening, the gap between the poor and the rich will expand. Then the poor will begin eating the rich, which is very dangerous because the rich have eaten the poor and they have remained boneless.
Well, before we went on air, this conversation wasn't bound to reach this far. The conversation has been a good one. The interaction online here, the opinions and views are still ongoing. I can't go through the rest or the reminder of those, but many thanks for all of you who have shared your views and opinions on such a critical matter, because I do believe some of us are guardians, others are parents, and well, it is something that is of huge concern. All others are our own parents in regards to paying this school fees or tuition. So the education system really takes us all as a country. And like Chiraba has actually mentioned, there are lots of things that need to be done, but that competition is something that I've actually liked from Chiraba. When you look at the fact that with the health sector, there is steady competition, whereby you weigh on your options. You're like,
like, should I go to this private hospital or should I take my baby for vaccination? Yes. They may charge 2,000 because the vaccines are provided. Or should I go to this, wherever you go?
Yes.
It is affordable. It's not something
it's affordable,
you worry about.
And you know the quality is the same.
It's the same.
So, nonetheless, the education sector is still taking shape, and maybe as the right steps are ongoing, we are now working on the new curriculum. The new curriculum was already enrolled. That is also a step in the right direction. We wait to see when the fee structure will as well be mentioned or be ideally talked about in the country. But as of now, me and Robert Chirao would wish you all the best for your day. The week is here. Attack it with high energy and good hopes of becoming the best of yourself. Go harder even more this time round. To all of you who have been with us from 6:30 a.m. till this hour of 10 o'clock, many thanks. Till tomorrow, stick around to UBC. Have a good day. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Have you packed more with Harbour jelly and Harbour foam?
Yes, we packed.
It will protect your skin from skin rashes.
Move it back.
It is a new improved Morbid Harbour jelly, so soft and smooth.
It is a Morbid Harbour jelly.
Tell me, kids, the scent. Any irritations? No more rashes and irritations. Movit Harbour Jelly and Harbour Soap is rich in natural herbs for a smooth and glowing skin.
Movit all day confidence. Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
In the production process of Aquafina, we expertly filter every drop, providing UBC, inspiring Uganda.
On the cusp of greatness, fueled by the passion of their supporters. And I can tell you, there is a lot of weight for their nations, and they hope that they will be able to get things moving on. I need to remind you, just grab yourself a seat, immerse yourselves into a spectacle, and prepare for what we have here on UBC. It is a night of magic. It is a night of glamour. It is a night of African football. And I can tell you that prepare yourself for a spellbound by the magic of football unfolding before your very own eyes. My name is Peter Otai, and together let's embark on this exhilarating journey and let's witness to see who will be the new champion of African football. Will it be the eagle or will it be the elephant? All that awaits, and only time will be telling us who will be victorious. Let's go down to the anthems of both nations, and then we shall be able to give you the best of the best. Remember, this is the finale.
If you are able for the national anthem of Côte d'Ivoire.
welcome you yet again to the Alassane Ouattara Stadium here in Ivory Coast. We are coming to you live all the way from Ebimpe, and this stadium is a stadium built for a champion. This stadium here is actually a stadium where the name of the man who is actually on the stadium is here today. Alassane Ouattara, the president of Ivory Coast, is here to witness Nigeria up against Ivory Coast. And this is the lineup of the Nigerians. Stanley Nwabali is still available. There is a change to the lineup because we do have the introduction of Sanusi, but this is what we have for you tonight. It's basically a 4-3-3 formation system here for the Nigerians. Sanusi at the back alongside Ajayi available there, not forgetting Trust Ekong available, and then on the other side you'll be having Aina, who actually played on the left, coming back to his natural. Basi is going a little bit forward, and in the midfield it's Iwobi, and not forgetting shot number 8, Onyeka, will be available to complete that midfield. Looking for the goal, Lukman is available, then the evergreen Osimhen will be there, and then there is an introduction of Chukwueze in today's game. Well, that is the formation of the Nigerians, and they are beaming with a lot of confidence. Well, that is the man who is actually looking for his second goal. The president of CAF and the president of FIFA are all here. This is royalty. This is the governing body of football internationally and football in Africa. Well, there is a lot to look out for in tonight's match. There goes Lukman. He's been very outstanding. Your center referee is Dahane Beida. He actually comes all the way from Mauritania. He's the one in charge of this game. He's only 32 years old, by the way. He'll be the one in charge of this game here tonight. And let's hope that he'll be able to have a very good game. At the VAR department, well, these are the people. Mahmoud Ashor will be there to call just in case there is a problem. Ivory Coast have made changes to their lineup that actually qualified them to the finale. There is an introduction of Serge Aurier back into the lineup tonight. And also there is an introduction of the footballer called Odion Kosonu. Kosonu did pick up a red card in the African Cup of Nations. Conan has played every match. Ndika has played every match. And Odion is back from a red card. And also there is an introduction of Serge Aurier coming back from an injury. At the midfield, Frank Casey starts tonight. And Michael Seri is available there, and on the other side will be that man called Fofana. We'll be trying to juggle the game through. There is a place as usual for Max Gradel. Then there, Sebastian Haller, the hero, begins today, and Adingra also begins this match here tonight. Brace yourselves for a mouth-watering clash. Jose Victor dos Santos, the coach of the Nigerian national team. And here is the man who is interim. Emas Faye looking to make history tonight for the Ivorians. It's just a matter of time before history can actually be made here tonight. But what a shot! What a shot of the biggest stadium in Ivory Coast. Just seconds away from a clash of the Titans. Prayers and tension all in this match. We are off again tonight, and this is the grand finale. This is where the curtains actually fall down. Wherever you are across the country, welcoming you to your national broadcaster. My name is Philo Tai again, and I'm your conductor until the end of this match. Very good start there from Sami Ajayi, but scores away to the goalkeeper very quickly. And they started looking to Conan. Back again looking to Evan Ndika. Lays it away to Odion Kosonu. It's Kosonu, the 23-year-old footballer from Bayer Leverkusen, now to Evan. Crossing away. This is Conan. They're taking their time here, the Ivorians, just taking their time, allowing the Nigerians to settle in a little bit, then they can actually go down and hunt them. Kosonu Odion. Long switch further up. Then called up well. Here comes Alex Iwobi with a long ball further inside. Here comes Osimhen. Lukman fights. Lukman loses. Referee awards the free kick very quickly. It was from Michael Seri. They'll have to call him Gala. That is his nickname, Gala. Well, because of a footballer called Marcelo Gallardo, who actually played for Monaco and plays for PSG. Well, his kind of style is just the same there. That's why they call him Gala, Michael Seri. Good movement, very good football. Away by Simon Adingra. Looks like the referee has awarded Simon Adingra a free kick. And Frank Onyeka complaining. The shot number 24 on your screen has a lot of history when it comes down to football. And one of those is when he was actually smuggled to Benin. He was smuggled to Benin by one of the promoters who actually told him and many boys that they can get a place of football, and Benin was the only place. Unfortunately, when the man reached Benin, let them go and disappeared with their money. And he was actually saved by an Ivorian gentleman who actually had them speaking the accent of Ivorian. Took them up, joined them in an academy, and the rest is history. Simon Adingra. Now here they come, the Nigerians taking their time. Back again to Trust Ekong. We'll be looking to the big man himself, Calvin Bassey. Long one from Bassey. Farther up front, the chase is good. Unfortunately not kept on play. That just goes away for a goal kick. But very good run, really good run there. Victor Osimhen, all available. Calvin Bassey. Plays for Fulham Football Club, there's Bassey. But that was a very good chase from Zaidu Sanusi. Footballer from FC Porto, playing in his 21st cap of the national side of Nigeria. For that man on your screen, there is rumor that actually says that he was selected by Jose Mourinho to take over the job as Nigerian coach. Jose Mourinho came yesterday and said he's a very good friend of his, and Calvin Bassey actually fouling. Sebastian Haller, what a goal he scored in the semi-final. Something waiting up on this game, some bit of a push there from Calvin Bassey, and the free kick shall be awarded to the Ivorians. Will be brought in by Michael Seri. Will be able to look up, trying to see if he can get players like Sebastian further inside. Michael Seri Gala finally gotten away from the defense and recollected here. Seri laying that ball deep down, looking for Serge Aurier. It's a long one looking for Sebastian, but it's finally gotten away. And here comes Stanley Nwabali. Very good goalkeeping from the Chippa United goalkeeper. And if you look at Stanley Nwabali, the name Nwabali actually comes from the Igbo dialect, which means a child of the night. Well, it looks like the parents actually gave birth to him at night. That's why he's called the child of the night. That's the name Nwabali. Well, if you have actually followed the Igbo language. Good play there from Calvin Bassey. Trust Ekong. Sami Ajayi. Looking to deliver this ball long further inside. Or they collect and they lose. But they still have possession. The referee from Mauritania doesn't give away the free kick. The 1-2's coming up here now. Here they come. Seko. Turns well. Good play from Seri. Seko again. Odion Kosonu. Kosonu checks his time. Looking to venture inside. Serge Aurier. Linking further inside to Odion. That's a very good run, but the referee has awarded a free kick. It was Osimhen Victor going slightly very hard on the big man Odion Kosonu. Well, the man from Mauritania is not new to brandishing red cards. Well, I can tell you he has brandished very many of those red cards. Well, previously he officiated the match between Egypt and Mozambique, which ended in a 2-2 draw. That was during the group stage as well as the round of 16 game between Angola up against Namibia. He was the one in charge of Angola's 3-0 win over Namibia in the last 16 in which a player from either side was sent off. But basically that is how things are moving on here tonight, and everybody is following this game, and I can tell you there is a lot we anticipate from here. Should be a corner. Looks like the referee has awarded Calvin Bassey, failing to keep that ball on play. Just listen to the roar here. Just listen to the roar here. The president is watching. Thousands are here. This stadium accommodates 60,012 people, but I can guarantee you that we are more than 60,012 in this stadium tonight. Alassane Ouattara Stadium, formerly known as the National Stadium of Ivory Coast, also known as the Olympic Stadium of Ebimpe. Max Gradel finally gotten away. Intercepted here by Seko Fofana, allowed to roll back. The Ivorians are currently pressing on. against the Nigerians. Long ball deep, chance for Hala! Oh, goes rolling away! That was very close for Sebastian Hala. But the long legs of Sebastian just could not reach the ball. But what a delivery that was there from Simon Adingra. Unfortunately, Sebastian just failing to nick that ball home to actually give the Ivorians the lead in this one. Nigeria managing to get the best of Ivory Coast in the group stages. The match actually ended 1-0. Was a penalty scored by Trost Ekong on the night. Here at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium, Ivory Coast are playing their 5th match in this stadium. Out of the 4, they've managed to win 2, and they have lost 2. And remember, they were beaten here by 4 goals, 2-0 by Equatorial Guinea. Fofana lays that ball away. Simon Adingra checking 1 and 2 and 3. Simon Adingra, but over the bar. What a start, really. What a glorious start in this match. The epitome of African football. It is the African Cup of Nations. The curtains closing down today. Next up will be Morocco. Then after that, the lights will be coming to Uganda, Tanzania and Kenya. We are not very far from this kind of excitement as Ugandans. We are not very far from such glorious football. What a run that was from Simon Adingra. Stanley Nwabali, the goalkeeper, holding up perfectly well. Nigeria playing their 3rd match here at the Ouattara Stadium. Out of the last 2, they've managed to win 1, and they have drawn 1. And one of those matches played here was that famous 1-0 win against Ivory Coast. The match played on the 18th of January 2024. And in that match, over 49,517 people were watching. And now here, over 60,000 are watching. That's a very good difference. Good play from Frank Onyeka, collected on the wing side by Calvin. Here comes Trost Ekong. Away to Sami Ajayi, nicking that ball further inside to Osimhen. Intercepted well and run through. Oh, that's beautiful football. Looking for that space on the double right now. Frank Casey, he goes down, and the referee awards a free kick to Frank Casey. Calvin Bassey bringing down on Casey. What a run there from Casey. What a run from the 27-year-old footballer. Once played for Barcelona, once played for AC Milan, currently plays for Al Ahly. And he's using that African power just to balance his body well here. And trust me, there was more power from Calvin Bassey. Tells the referee, no, no, no. Well, I didn't do that. It's football. Even the big boys cry. That's it. Well, that is Sonko. Oh, not Sonko, rather. That's one of the footballers of Ivory Coast. Well, his name just keeps on eluding me very openly. Free kick to Ivory Coast. Let's wait and see who takes this one after just about 9 minutes of the game played. It's wonderful to actually anticipate that this actually comes to an end today. Yeah. Finally, the curtains will be closing down, but there was some bit of good intensity there. A battle of the elephant and the super ego. Calvin Bassey bringing down Frank Casey. And Calvin, in a word with the referee. Seems to be okay to continue. Frank Casey. It is away. Oh, handball right there. That was a handball. Yeah, that was a handball. The referee wants a word here with Lukman. Come here, Lukman. He's only 26 years old, Lukman. Plays for a club called Atalanta. He's born in England, by the way. Well, you look at that man, he's basically what Ugandans call a brainy. He's very sharp. Did study at St. Thomas the Apostle College, where he scored about 3 Super A's and 5 A's in his GCSE. Well, talk about brilliance and football. That man got it all. 3 A's, Super A's, and 5 ordinary A's. Lukman. Chase away Alex Iwobi on one side. Very good run through. Lookman loses his bearings and finally intercepted by Frank Casey. Just listen to the roar. Listen to the roar when the elephant gets the ball. Zaidu Sanusi bringing down Frank Casey. Well, his father, Frank Casey, was a footballer. Decided to leave football and join the army of Ivory Coast when he was just only 11 years old. Unfortunately, his father fell sick after a long illness. That's why whenever Frank Casey scores a goal, he salutes the military style, and that is to the owner of his father who taught him the game. Ndika, Odion Kosonu. Global Paints, the reliable product for you. Well, if you're looking to paint your house tonight or tomorrow, look no more further than Global Paints, that reliable product. They have the best when it comes down to a silk emulsion paint. It's basically washable, so if it's dirty, just pick a rag together with water and wash away that dirty part. Global Paints, made in Uganda, by Ugandans, and that's the number on your screen to actually look for some business. Sajure, Max Gradel, long ball deep in, looking for Sebastian, and finally gotten away by Aina Ola. That will be a corner. Very good football there by Max Alien Gradel. He's the oldest footballer in the final today at the age of 36. Max Alien Gradel is here. Didier Drogba is watching. Gradel with the corner. Powerful head away, collected by Fofana. Looks for that space. Easy does it, Stanley Nwabali. Seko Fofana plays for Al Nasri. Currently is on loan at a club called Al Ettifaq. Club that was once, I think actually still coached by Steven Gerrard. Fofana looking. Oh, he goes down easily. Referee shall award the free kick. He's in a lot of pain, the 28-year-old. Totally a lot of pain. Nigeria does not have a very good record when a referee from Mauritania is handling the final. They did lose the 1988 final to Cameroon. The referee was called Idrissa Sarr from Mauritania, and that loss was basically controversially after ruling out a Henry Nwosu header for an offside. That was way back in 1988 when Idrissa Sarr from Mauritania was in charge of the final. Now today, it's a man from Mauritania, Beida, in charge of this one. Saj. One pass again from Saj. Odion Kosonu looking for Evan Ndika. Away to Conan Gaislan. Trying to drop that ball further inside. It's kept on play. Looking for more of that space to actually dilly-dally with here. Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, both live radio and TV. We are here making sure you follow the game live. UBC Radio Network, UBC Radio beaming across the country, the national radio, also giving you this match live. And also we have Totore all the way in Moroto, Voice of Bundibujo in Bundibujo, Ngeya all the way in Kasese, not forgetting Mega all the way in Kulu. You got this covered. Butebo covering the eastern part of Uganda. UBC West Nile, down in West Nile in Arua, has this covered. Sajure finally away by Trost Ekong. Fofana, it's gotten away but not very far, intercepted by Conan. Oh, they are building well. Michael Seri, aka Gala. Frank Casey looking to Odion Kosonu, takes his time. Kosonu, Sebastian finally clipped away. Here comes Iwobi, Alex Iwobi. Osimhen Victor just cannot keep the ball in play, wanting that ball a little bit further inside, and Alex Iwobi from Everton Football Club, not very free, actually from Fulham. Not very pleased with the things that Iwobi won there. Iwobi played for Everton, played for Arsenal. Conan Adingra, Conan, Michael Seri. Good pass there from Casey. Intercepted well, but recollected. Iwobi takes on to Iwobi. Onto the far side, here they come. Samuel on the double. Lookman here. Crosses deep in the box line and hide it away. Fofana pushed. Referee doesn't buy. Oh, intercepted again by Osimhen Victor. Scooping. Ola. Osimhen. Samuel. Flipped away by Conan. Nigeria have actually cut the defense right now. Look at all the orange shirts back defending. Zaidu Sanusi. Lookman looking away. Looks like the referee has awarded the throw to the Ivorians. Oh, the very good gamble. Evan Ndika doing so well. Normally, when it comes down to education in Uganda, very many parents don't want their children to be involved in sport. Many believe that sport is a wastage of time. Let me actually bring you to speed for you, the parent who's watching UBC right now. Look at the example of shot number 18, Lookman. Scoring straight Super 3 A's and 5 A's in his final exams. And all that because he had even time to play football. So I can tell you, football is not a wasted of time. Talent needs to be enhanced. Talent needs to be, well, brought out. Oh, Max Gradel. Oh, he actually fouls in the process there. And that's the man I'm talking about, Lookman. Look at him well. Very good stretch. Cleverness from Lookman, former student of St. Thomas the Apostle College. Well, we have so far seen over 13 red cards in the African Cup of Nations. 163 yellow cards have been witnessed. Surprisingly, out of the 13 red cards, Ivory Coast is leading with about 2. Simon Adingra will be very much wanting something from here, but this is Seko Fofana. Conan. Fofana again. Odion Kosonu. Making to get things rolling up here to Saj Uriye. Max. Saj. Odion. Evans Ndika. Very long ball there from Evan Ndika. Headed back. Ooh. Now that is a problem for Zaidu. Goes away for a corner. You have to be at your A game. All the systems in your body have to be very much alert. You don't have to do this. Really in the final, Max Gradel was a little bit hesitant to actually go for that ball. Corner. Ivory Coast to get this moving on. This is the second time that Nigeria and Ivory Coast are facing each other in this year's edition of the African Cup of Nations. Long ball brought in by Ndingra. It's headed through the volley! Side netted! Max Gradel. That was very close, really, really close there from Max. And again, you ask yourself, what was the defense? Max Gradel not getting that well on target. Ivory Coast have not beaten Nigeria at the AFCON since the 2008 group stages. They have never. Nigeria and Ivory Coast are meeting for the 8th time at the African Cup of Nations. 3 wins for Nigeria, 2 for Ivory Coast, 2 draws registered. By the way, including in all 3 AFCON editions where the Super Eagles have won the competition. Group stage draw in 1980, a 4-2 Nigeria win on penalties after a 2-2 semi-final draw, and that was in 1994, and a 2-1 Nigeria win in the quarterfinals in 2013. Oh, very good play. Really good play. The chase is on here. Max Gradel at the edge of 36 makes a good cross through. Just could not get Sebastian Haller. Ivory Coast are the first host nation to reach the Africa Cup of Nations final since Egypt in 2006, who won the trophy that year on penalties against Ivory Coast after a 0-0 draw. 5 of the last 6 host nations to reach the final have won the tournament. The exception being Nigeria in 2000 when they drew 2-2 with Cameroon and then went on to lose 4-3 in penalties. Well, they're not very good in penalties, Nigeria. Troste Konk, Calvin Bassi. Calvin takes his time. Oh, he dummies well there. Iwobi. Calvin again. Well, entertaining us just like Calvin the entertainer of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. Stolen well up front. Down goes Lukman. There's still Lukman. Referee looks there and wants the free kick to Lukman. And this time it was Gala. Footballer who actually went very hard there on Lukman. What a final. Many believe that this has been one of the best African Cup of Nations tournaments ever since the inception of the competition years ago. The essence of this competition was to bring African countries together. At one time, politics did also play parts. San Jose flipping away, collected yet again, not very far, and the referee awards that for the free kick after an injury there to the man Simon Adigra. Very good ball brought in well. I don't think if that could be an offside. You can actually see from there. Oh, the flag went a little bit late, but it was for the free kick on Adigra. Conan. Ndika. Odion Kosonu. One of the 2 players that received a red card for Ivory Coast. Oh, 1 touch, 2 touches. Looking for Gradel, but Calvin is faster. Oh. The crowd is loving that from their coach. Showcasing some bit of goalkeeping skills. Look at this here. Surprisingly, he was not a goalkeeper during his playing days. Emas Faye, born in France. Played for Ivory Coast about 41 times, scoring 1. Emas Faye, runner-up of the African Cup of Nations in 2006. Basically, you can say this is his second finale. Ma'au, good play there from Sash. Scooped it well. Ola Aina, muscling away. Simon Adigra. Ola Aina, only 27 years old, plays for Nottingham Forest. Was born in England. His brother Jordan Aina plays for Fulham. Long throw, Aina. Osimhen cannot control. Oh, it's away finally by Odion. Had 2 thoughts in his mind, and that's very dangerous as a player. Away by Troste Konk. Just love the way the Ivorians have actually handled Osimhen, and now it's getting naughty. It's getting naughty right now. Yeah, this is what we get from a final, especially between Nigeria and Ivory Coast. Lukman coming through, Osimhen being pulled away by Grandel. And Osimhen is still very, very disappointed with Evan Ndika. Evan Ndika's father is Cameroonian, the mother is Ivorian, and actually has a citizenship of France. That man there, Evan Ndika. "25 minutes of the game played already. Here we go. And a bit of a misuse of the hand there by Evan Ndika. Not very pleased that Osimhen went down very easily. Yeah, that can actually be given as a free kick. That's misuse of your hand. And that's the reason as why Victor Osimhen is very disappointed. African Football of the Year. On your screen, Victor Osimhen. Evan Ndika, footballer of Roma, trying very much to organize the D. The free kick will be brought in by Ola Aina. Oh, it was actually Lukman with that. Would have been Ndika himself. Oh, Osimhen fouled. Very pleased with the referee's call on that. Oh, look at this here from the Portuguese man. Not very happy. Dos Santos. Oh, now we have a problem here. The referee wants to go and protect his assistant, has all the right to do that. You come here, yellow card for you. You don't need to bring a nuisance here. Even if it's a lady on the game, you have to respect her. And there, I really don't see where the foul was. He just leaped over, totally over. Holding up well. Odion. Max Gradel. Finally the ball goes out for a throw. So the lady on your screen is called Diana. Sorry, she's called Kuchra Kabubi, all the way from Morocco. That's the lady. Oh, that looks like Kalu. Samia Jai goes out for a goal kick. Well, we have a lady from Zambia called Diana Chikotesha, all the way from Zambia. She's the assistant on line number 2. The lady you see further side, she's from Zambia, becoming the first Zambian female referee to actually be in charge of a final. Conan. Simon back to Conan. Ndika. Odion Kosonu. Sajurie. Kosonu again. Looks up. Trying to drill it in through. Good play from Sebastian Hala. Ndika with a sweet sweep to Conan. Looks up, delivers. Looking to pinpoint somebody through. And there goes the man, Stanley Nwabali. The child of the night. We will be going down for a cooling break, according to the referee, Mauritania. It will be a cooling break now. Here we go again. Digra had all the right to go for that ball, and the goalkeeper standing Nwabali actually failing to keep hold of that ball. A little bit of poor grips from him. Well, there goes the cooling break. Very good start, by the way, to this match. 30 minutes of the game played. Nigeria and Ivory Coast was still locked at 0-0. And the man from Mauritania has actually enjoyed his game here. Totally enjoying the game. Oh, by the way, all 4 of Ivory Coast's previous African Cup of Nations finals have ended goalless and gone to penalties. They won 2 of those shootouts in 1992 and 2015, both against Ghana, and they lost 2 in 2006 versus Egypt and 2012 versus Zambia. Look at the shots here. 6 of those total shots, percentage of only 16. Average possession Just look at how they move. Just look at how they move there. You see that the power is in the midfield, totally in the midfield.